What's up, everyone? It's the OOTP GM. I want to welcome you to the 21st episode of my Detroit Tigers GM Let's Play here on Out of the Park Baseball 18. So we're here at the end of the 2021 season, the beginning of the playoff round, and before I get into our playoff matchup with the Oakland Athletics, who won the Wild Card Series, I did want to give you guys a quick season review about how our team did and a playoff preview against our opponent, the Oakland Athletics, before we get into the actual ALDS. So we ended up finishing the season 96 and 66. We won the division. We ended up with the best record in the American League, barely, over the Houston Astros, who had to win a game to win the division over the Texas Rangers. We kind of scuttled a little bit down the stretch, but things never really got close between us and Cleveland. We kind of stretched out a pretty big lead over them over the course of the second half of the season. I think the closest they got after the trade deadline was maybe 5 games, and then we pretty much pulled away from them after that. So it was really close down the stretch in terms of who was going to win best record. There was a lot of people fighting to not have it, but we ended up squeaking it out at the end. So we ended up doing that. We finished with the third best record in baseball behind the Cubs and the Dodgers. Dodgers look like the odds-on favorite to again make the World Series. And then in terms of our team itself, I'm just going to do a quick review of the season for us. So I'll start with pitching. And you can see before I get into that real quick, see the team stats. We did really, really great pretty much everywhere across the board. We were top 3 in every offensive ranking in the American League with the exception of stolen bases, and we were top 4 in all pitching stats. So I was really happy to see that. We'll go to the pitching staff here, and this is obviously set up for the playoffs, the way it is right now. But I'll kind of go through some of the guys that had really great seasons for us real quick, and then get into the lineup, and then we'll do the playoff preview. So Michael Fulmer had his best season ever for us this year. He went 13-6. He had a 2.69 ERA. He struck out 266 batters. He had 8.5 WAR and an insane 2.58 FIP. He led the he led the American League in ERA and strikeouts. So he won 2 legs of the pitching Triple Crown. He did not obviously get enough wins, unfortunately, but still had his best season by far. And if this continues, then it looks like we have our ace of the future. Aaron Sanchez just absolutely dominated in the second half of the season after having missed some time with injuries. He ended up going 15-5, 3.23 ERA, 3.42 FIP, and a 4.2 WAR. He looks like a really solid number 2 guy for us moving forward. If he can continue to stay healthy. I haven't given him an extension yet. The reason why is with wrecked guys, I always like to wait until after the season before making that decision because you never know what's going to happen with them in terms of injuries. And then lastly, Bo Burrows he struggled a little bit down the stretch, but still had a better season than last year. Last year he had a 4-7 record in limited starts with a 5.73. This year he went 9-8, 4.58 ERA, 2.2 WAR, ERA plus 105. So I think a 4.48 FIP. So his numbers were a little bit better this year. He was pitching really well at one point. His numbers kind of scuttled a little bit, but he still had himself a really nice season. And then lastly, our 4th and 5th starters was kind of a rotation between Sleggers and Faedo and Buehler. And as you can see, Buehler is not actually on our playoff roster at the moment. He struggled mightily down the stretch, and I sent him back down to the minors, and I don't trust him to be on our major league roster at this point. So hopefully he will, I don't want to panic with Buehler yet, but the fact that he's had 2 straight seasons where he's pitched really, really poorly is disconcerting to me. So we will obviously kind of have to, wait and see. We'll kind of have to wait and see what happens in that regard. This is just the players eligible for the roster and stuff. But it's obviously a little bit disconcerting to me that he has, not played particularly well. But again, we'll see how things progress, down the stretch for him. But I don't want to panic with him quite yet. And then in terms of lineups, we had, again, a really amazing year lineup-wise, and in terms of our offense. Pentecost had himself a really nice year. He's continued to improve really well for us. Jeremy Vasquez had a really nice year. 278, 532, 526 slash. In his very first season, hit 30 home runs, 88 RBIs. Cody Eves had another nice year to follow up what he did last year. 44 home runs, 119 RBIs. Vladimir Guerrero was great after we called him up. He looks like our third baseman of the future. And then Bryce Harper had himself an MVP campaign, 9.5 WAR, 18 stolen bases, which is really great too. 312, 432, 642 slash, 53 home runs, 139 RBI. So I think Harper's the favorite in the house for the MVP. But I mean, you just look up and down the board here, and all of our stats are just really, really good across the board. Everybody had a really great season, so I don't anticipate us making too many changes once we get to the off season. But we'll see what happens in that regard. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a quick playoff preview for our matchup with Oakland, and then we're going to get right into the ALDS, and we will see what happens against them. So I will be back with our playoff preview. All right, so we are here, and I'm going to do a quick playoff preview of our opponent, the Oakland Athletics. So the Oakland Athletics struggled mightily in terms of their offense this year, but their pitching staff was really, really great. Their bullpen kind of struggled a little bit, but their starters were amazing. They are led by Chris Sale, who they acquired in a trade back in 2019 with the Boston Red Sox, and he has been excellent for them the past 2.5 seasons. And they also have some other really good starters. They have this Andrew Triggs, who's gotten progressively better for them over the last few years. They have Jesse Hahn. And then they also have this Jorge Ruiz, who had himself a really nice year this year as well. So they have some pretty solid, they have a pretty solid rotation that we're going to have to contend with. And their bullpen isn't too bad either. Their closer, Jonathan Holder, is a really good closer, so we're going to have to contend with him. They have a couple of injuries they're dealing with. Their starting left fielder, Sky Bolt, and their starting shortstop, Franklin Barreto, are both injured, so we won't have to contend with them. At this point, we won't have to contend with them during the postseason. But let's go ahead and just do a real quick look at what the matchups and stuff are going to be. So we ended up going 3-4 against them this year. I don't know how much that's going to play a factor in terms of the matchup here, but they've got Ruiz going in game 1, which is really surprising to me. But the reason why is Sale just pitched recently, so they can't have him starting game 1. So that actually is a huge advantage for us. So it's Fulmer and Ruiz, then Hahn, Sanchez, Burrows, Triggs, Slegers, and Sale, and then back to Fulmer and Ruiz, both teams employing 4 pitcher rotations. And then in terms of how we did against them this year, so Harper crushed it against Oakland this year. He had 500 in 26 at-bats. Luis Santana hit 240. Some of the other guys didn't play particularly well. You can see their numbers against them this year. Pitchers were a little bit better, although Faedo really struggled, but he's not going to be starting for us. Sanchez had a bad start. Fulmer, not particularly great. So, I mean, those are just isolated incidences, but we'll kind of have to see what happens here during the course of this playoff series, since we do have the first 2 games at home. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the American League Division Series here against the Oakland Athletics. All right, so as you can see here, I'm not going to make any change. Like the last time we were in the ALDS in 2017, I'm not going to make any changes to the lineups or any crazy moves like that. I'm just going to only do pitching changes and stuff when necessary. So we're going to head right in here, and we're going to get game 1 started. And hopefully we can get off to a good start here against Oakland. So I'm going to go a half inning at a time like I did last time. And Oakland gets off to a really fast start. Wow, 3 runs in the top of the first. We don't like to see that. That's a bad start for Fulmer. But we get 3 runs back in the bottom of the second. So that's nice to see. We get 2 more in the bottom of the third. Fulmer's at 59 pitches, so he's okay to keep going. one more for Oakland in the top of the fourth. So this hasn't been the best start for Fulmer so far, but our offense has carried him. We're up by 1. Still 79 pitches, so I want Fulmer to at least go one more inning, and he does okay there, and we'll go one more half inning. We get 3 more runs, so our offense really carrying us here, 8-4 here through 5. Fulmer's at 89 pitches. I'm going to do until runners in scoring position. He gets through that inning, but I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, even though he's only at 96 pitches, I think I'm going to get Fulmer out of there. So we're going to get some guys warming up that can give us some length. And there's a few different guys that I was looking at here in terms of guys who can give us some length. I'm going to do Daniel Stumpf, I think, for a couple of innings. We're going to let him come in, so he's a lefty. We're going to get him warming up, and we're going to do the next half inning for us. And so it's still 8-4. Fulmer is up, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get Stumpf into the game. So Fulmer gives us 6 innings, allows 4 earned runs. Stumpf allows 1 in the top of the 7th, but we're still okay. And we're going to do another half inning. So 8-5. Stumpf is okay at this point. At 23 pitches, we'll do 2 runners in scoring position. He gets through the top of the 8th just fine. So now we're going to go ahead and we'll get our closer warming up in Drew Steckenrider. And he will look to come in and get the save for us. And we are up 8-5. Here going into the 9th, we'll get Steckenrider into the game. And we'll see if he can close us down. We'll do it until runners in scoring position. And Steckenrider gets the save for us. We win game 1, 8-5. Not the best start from Fulmer in this game. 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. But we got a decent 2 innings from Stumpf, and then Steckenrider came in and closed the door and gave us a very nice 3-out save. And in terms of our offense, was a really nice offense today. We got 3 RBIs from Vasquez, 2 from Eves. So pretty well rounded. Pretty much everybody got into the hit column except for Vladimir Guerrero. So we will move forward until we'll finish today. And then we'll move on to game 2. So you can see how some of these series have updated. New York takes a 1-0 lead over Houston in their series. So we'll get into game 2 here. In game 2, it is Aaron Sanchez up against Andrew Triggs here in game 2. No lineup changes for us. I don't believe they've made any lineup changes either. All right, so we'll get right in here to start a game 2. Detroit with a 1-0 series lead. Hopefully we can get another win here at home. And we'll get started here. And no runs here. We get 3 in the bottom of the first, so a nice early cushion for Sanchez. Oakland gets 1 back in the top of the second. We get 1 in the bottom of the second. Nothing for Oakland in the top of the third. Nothing for us. No score for Oakland through in the fourth. We don't get anything in the fourth. Nothing for Oakland in the fifth. New pitcher, Frankie Montes for the Oakland Athletics. We get nothing in the bottom of the fifth. Only 61 pitches for Sanchez, so he's being super efficient today. Still only a 1-hitter right now for Sanchez, so he's pitching excellent. Probably a solo home run, obviously. And we get another run in the bottom of the sixth, so we're continuing to give Sanchez support. No score for Oakland there. I know they did get another hit, though, so we are still up 5-1 here through 6.5. Now through 7, we're up 5-1 still. Sanchez is at 91 pitches now, so I think I'm going to start doing until runners in scoring position. And they do have a man on second with 1 out. He's at 99 pitches, so we're going to do individual to this batter here, Sean Mert, up. And he gets a ground out. So there are now 2 outs. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to let Sanchez face this final batter here. See if he can get out of this inning. 1-2 count. And it is a strikeout for Sanchez. So he gets through there. 8 strong innings for us. But we are going to go ahead and take Sanchez out. He is tired, but he gave us a great 8 innings of work. It's part of the reason why we brought him in. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to get Joe Jimenez up to let him pitch that last inning for us. And Detroit gets another run in the bottom of the 8th, so we are up 6-1. And we will just finish out here. And Detroit wins Game 2, 6-1 over Oakland off of the back of an amazing start from Sanchez. And apparently I never put Jimenez into the game. Whoops. Well, I guess we didn't need him because Sanchez ended up pitching a complete game for us. That's the fun parts when you you forget to make changes. But still, So a complete game from Sanchez. He goes 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts on 123 pitches. Just the start that we needed. So we take a 2-0 series lead, and the series will then shift to Oakland. So we'll go ahead and we will move forward to there, and we will see how some of these other series get updated. All right. Fulmer, day-to-day injury, sinusitis. Okay, well, he might not be pitching for us again this series, so I'm not going to be bothered by that too much. But let's head back here. So we have a 2-0 series lead. New York and Houston are tied 1 apiece. Los Angeles is up 2-0 over Philadelphia, and New York and Chicago are tied 1 apiece in their ALDS. So game 3, they have moved Chris Sale up, so it'll be Chris Sale versus Beau Burrows in game 3 here in Oakland. So a tall task for Beau Burrows going up against Chris Sale, but we'll see what happens here. We're not going to make any big changes. We're continuing to play well. Vasquez is hitting 714 in the first 2 games, so he's doing really well. All right, so we're here, game 3. Let's see how things start. And we get nothing in the top of the first. No score through 1. We get 1 in the top of the second. Oakland, no score. Still 1-0 Detroit. We get another run in the top of the 4th. Oakland gets 1 back in the bottom of the 4th. We get another 1 in the top of the 5th. Burrows is at 58 pitches, so he's still okay right now. Nothing in the bottom of the 5th for Oakland. We get another 1 in the top of the 6th, so we are kind of just little nitpicks here. And Beau Burrows at 64 pitches. We're going to let him go. No score for them, so Burrows has been stared down Sale so far. They did remove him. Frankie Montez is the new pitcher. And we still, no score for us, top of the 7th. Burrows at 73 pitches. We'll let him go. So they get 1 back in the bottom of the 7th, so it's now 4-2. And I'm going to go ahead and... Burrow's still doing okay at 95 pitches, but I want to get some guys warming up just in case we're going to need them. I'm going to get Minter, and I'm going to get Jimenez warming up, both of them. All right, so we're going to get through this half inning. Detroit, no score in the top of the 8th. So we're going to let Burrows do until runners in scoring position, and he gets through that inning beautifully. So he will be done after 8 innings. I'm going to make sure I remember to put our pitcher in this time. And we are going to get Steckenrider, our closer, warming up. Burrows gave us 8 solid innings, but we are going to remove him after 8 innings. So 4-2 here in the bottom of the 9th. Detroit looking to close out the ALDS, sweep the Oakland Athletics in this series. We will put Steckenrider, our closer, into the game, and I'm going to go batter by batter to see if we can close out this series here. So Steckenrider takes the mound. He will face Jose Abreu. First batter, it's a 3-2 count. Payoff pitch. Hit deep to left. Oh! A home run. So Abreu hits a solo home run, very first batter. So still a 4-3 lead for us, but not the way that you want to start the bottom of the 9th. Famea up, and he gets a single into left. So Steckenrider struggling here early. Now Andrew Tolis is up. 1-1 count. And he hits a dribbler in front of the mound, and they get him out. But Femenia takes second. So 1 out, man on second. Steckenrider. And a strikeout. So now 2 outs, the tying run in scoring position. BJ Boyd is the final hope for Oakland. 0-2 count, dribbler down the line. Guerrero fires to first. And the Detroit Tigers have defeated the Oakland Athletics 4-3 to sweep the American League Division Series. We will move on to the ALCS, I believe for the first time since 2014. I think that was the last time when they lost to Boston. It's either 2014 or 2013. I can't remember which. But so Detroit back into the ALCS, and an amazing 3-game series. We got amazing pitching from our starters, and I am super, super happy to see that. And I am excited to see what this team will do in the American League Championship Series. And we do get the sweep there, as you see. But we lost Max Pentecost to an oblique strain for 2 weeks. That is a bit of a bummer. So I will have to look to put him on the disabled list. The playoff disabled list, rather. So losing Pentecost, sucks, but we'll have to see what happens there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move forward here real quick just to see who we're going to play. New York has a 2-1 series lead. Let's do until next playoff round. Let's see what happens here. Dodgers did sweep the Phillies. So New York ended up winning. So we will face the New York Yankees in the ALCS, and the Dodgers will play the New York Mets in the NLCS. So it'll be an exciting series here to see what happens. I will give you guys a full preview in the next episode. But with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Comments and feedback are always welcome. And I will see you guys for episode 22, which will be our matchup against the New York Yankees in the 2021 ALCS.